boy parts look like. I'm terrible at this game.
League speaking miscellaneous and on the track, picking up a cutting up major.
French Jackie getting up next. Witnesses from her teammate as Layla Smackdown getting from her fourth minor.
While Dragon is not uncommon in the second half of play, the minor penalties start to accumulate and they start picking up 4 minors and getting sent to the penalty box.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they started accumulating them a lot earlier, but this is when they hit their maximum capacity. French Jackie out of the pack for her initial pass. And he's out of 2 minutes. Well, Mike, this battle is certainly exciting. I'm going to make sure I relive it all while I go to the after party tonight.
Hey, you know that after party is going to be in the space room at 49th and Hawthorne. Your bracelet, your ticket gets you in for free.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. What he said.
Napoleon blown apart, taking the jammer cap for the high rollers. Sulfuric acid jamming for the breakneck Betties.
Both teams down a blocker in the penalty box.
Humongous whip to Napoleon, blown apart from Schoolgirl Crusher, and it's Napoleon blown apart, your lead jammer.
Acid is not too far behind as the penalty box empties out. More skaters are waved off for fourth minors.
Napoleon blown apart with some amazing footwork there, putting 4 points on the high rollers side of the board, Magic.
I know I said it earlier, but Northwest Medical Massage is going to be busy after this bout. Northwest Medical Massage.
Actually, I do believe that's Medical Massage Northwest is what you meant to say there, right?
It says on my sheet, Northwest Medical Massage.
We'll get that changed in the future.
Deconstructor jamming once again for the breakneck Betties. Lined up next to Illegally Blonde for the high rollers. Deconstructor through lead jammer for the Betties.
Illegally Blonde still working her way through the pack. Frisky Sour knocking Illegally Blonde to the outside of the front straightaway.
And in the blink of an eye, we've got Deconstructor back into the pack for her first scoring pass. High rollers concentrating their defense in the back of the pack to hold her back.
Illegally Blonde out on her initial pass. Deconstructor still working her way through.
You know, you just got to get around like Hurricanes Katrina, that's all. That ain't no thing, right?
Both jammers in the pack in the midst of their scoring pass. It's just Illegally Blonde through, putting 4 points on the board for the high rollers.
I gotta say, Mike, this pack is moving exceptionally fast here. It's not just the jammers who are sprinting through, but those blockers have some tenacity.
Rose City Rollers would like to thank The Brew, serving up 6 and 12 packs of hits all day long, every day. The Brew.
Well, Dragon the King is definitely doing a great job riling up the high rollers. But where is Breakneck Alley? They seem to be a little quiet tonight. Breakneck Alley, you out there? Ouch.
Honestly, Breakneck Alley, are you out there?
Wreck Decker jamming for the high rollers. Northern Lights out taking the cap for the Breakneck Betties, but it is Wreck Decker making her way through the pack first, picking up lead jammer status, Dragon.
Well, and that pack is going still just so fast, it is hard for me to keep up with where the action is going.
Heidi Go Seek and Penny Dreadful, the last two blockers she's got to get around. Heidi Go Seek dropping Northern Lights out to the inside of turn 2.
Francesca getting up there trying to break up that wall. She only got halfway, but now Northern Lights Out is out on her initial pass for the Betties.
Penny Dreadful and Francesca going at each other in the back of the pack. Francesca trying to hold back Wreck Deckard.
She takes a big spill there at turn 3 and calls off the jam, Pony.
The Jupiter Hotel, Rose City Roller Derby Girls' favorite crash pad, the Jupiter Hotel. Pick up the 15% discount if you make a reservation from our website. That's rosecityrollers.com.
High Rollers on the verge of pushing their score into triple digits as Napoleon Blown Apart takes the cap.
She's going up against veteran sulfuric acid, who quickly takes the inside and gets lead jammer for the Breakneck Betties.
Mad Splatter instrumental in helping sulfuric acid make it through that pack on her initial pass.
But the Betties are rotating out one hit after another, pushing her out of bounds, but she maintains her stability, stays on her feet, and clears the pack, while Acid breezes on by, picking up 4 points for the Betties and calls off the jam.
We'd like to thank Kay's Bar, Selwood's favorite watering hole, and the proud sponsors of the Rose City Rollers travel team, the Wheels of Justice.
Well, not only do you want to support them because they support Wheels, but you should support Portland's All-Star Travel Team as well by coming out next Friday as they take on the mother of modern roller derby, the Texas Roller Girls.
Illegally Blonde returning to the jammer line for the High Rollers. Deconstructor taking the cap for the Breakneck Betties.
Ooh, big hit from Francesca, knocking down Illegally Blonde in the back of the pack there. Meanwhile, DK almost out of the front. And it's a photo finish.
Deconstructor deciding she wanted none of that. Illegally Blonde hot on her wheels, and Deconstructor quickly calling off the jam, Magic.
That's PDX Pipeline, your aligned source for Portland's music, arts, and events happenings. Happenings like Derby right now.
I hear Derby's fun. This is the first jam for Lethal Lolita to start as the jammer for the Breakneck Betties tonight.
Wreck Deckard wearing the cap once again for the High Rollers. Breakneck Betties with a 3-wall at the front of the pack. Devastating Diva up to help out.
And Lethal takes a whip off of Scrappy's uniform there. Not lead jammer due to a minor cutting the track.
Devastating Diva being sent off the track for a penalty. Wreck Deckard in the front of the pack. Takes a spill.
Huge hit from Scrappy Go Lucky.
Give her no quarter, last line of defense for the Betties, but Wreck Deckard makes her way through and picks up lead jammer status.
Lethal Lolita clears the pack for her first scoring pass, picks up 4 points, and Wreck calls it off.
If you ever wondered why Derby girls play the way they do, it's because of Get Fit Training, the official fitness trainers of your Rose City Rollers.
Breakneck Betty's doing an excellent job of slowly climbing their way back up that scoreboard, Mike.
Indeed, High Rollers still on the precipice of breaking triple digits. High Rollers 99, Breakneck Betties 54. The Widower Maker out talking to Wench Warden.
And we've got maybe an official timeout, an official review. Never mind, I was just kidding. Don't pay attention to me. Sulfuric acid off the PBR jam line for the Breakneck Betties.
Layla Smackdown and Heidi Go Seek setting up in the back of the pack, trying to stop sulfuric acid early on, but Heidi Go Seek picking up a penalty, lands in the penalty box.
High Rollers short with only 2 blockers out there, making it easy for Acid to pick up lead jammer there. And we've got Legally Blonde trying to fight her way for her initial pass as Acid is back in for her first scoring pass. Now it's the Betties who are losing blockers to the penalty box as Push Latush is sent out.
Illegally Blonde through the pack on her initial pass.
And Acid dances around one Miss Layla smackdown and quickly calls off the jam after picking up another 4 points.
Rose City Rollers would like to thank Bridgetown Automotive, keeping your engines humming on and off the track. Bridgetown Automotive.
Deconstructor finds herself on the PBR jammer line once again for the Breakneck Betties. For the High Rollers, Minstrel Psycho.
We've got just a little over 17 minutes left in this second period. If the Betties keep up with this trajectory, nickel and diming their way up the scoreboard, let's see where this night is going to finish.
Minstrel Psycho, a little bit of defensive jamming, trying to hold up Deconstructor.
Meanwhile, the Betties front three wall holding back Minstrel Psycho. And now, Schoolgirl Crusher being sent out for a cutting the track penalty.
And it's Minstrel Psycho making her way through the pack first. She is your lead jammer.
DK getting a big whip from lead, simultaneously holding back. Heidi going in for that last swing and a miss.
Scrappy Go Lucky fighting her way through the pack, rejoins her pack mates at the front. Heidi Goes Seek being sent out for blocking out of bounds.
Skating out of bounds. And that was her 4th minor. Oh.
Buffalo Gap Eatery and Saloon, John's Landing's favorite eatery and saloon, now streaming Boutcast live. That's the Buffalo Gap.
Now there's a reason why there's pink lines on the track there, Miss Mike checks. You're supposed to skate in between them. If you purposely step out, you're going to pick up a penalty.
Well, and in my defense, you're also not supposed to block once you're outside of those pink lines as well.
That's true. High Rollers hitting 100 points there in that last jam.
And Napoleon blown apart, making her way through the pack first, picking up a lead jammer status for the High Rollers.
Lethal Lolita jamming for the Breakneck Betties, being held back by the one and only Hurricane Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina, an amazing defensive skater for the High Rollers.
She's building a great front wall there with Penny Dreadful.
Meanwhile, Napoleon blown apart, making her way all the way through the pack on her scoring pass for 5 points.
And the pack of the pace is picking up as the Betties try to make it more difficult for the High Rollers. Switching to a little defensive focus here.
Schoolgirl Crusher introducing Lethal Lolita to some fans in the front row on the front straightaway. Heidi Go Seek rejoining the action. We've got an empty Rebel Jeweler penalty box.
Huge whip there from Heidi Go Seek. Napoleon Bonaparte picking up another 5 points for the High Rollers.
High Rollers defense continuing to be just suffocating here in the second half of play.
Well, we've got all 10 skaters on the track now. Lisa Lolita looking to still complete her initial pass there.
Sulfuric acid with some defensive blocking at the back of the pack. Hurricane Katrina helping out Napoleon blown apart by trying to stop sulfuric acid in the back of that pack.
And with Lethal being recycled in the back of the pack once again by Penny Dreadful there, we hit our 2 minutes. Pony, what do you got for us?
I got Fire on the Mountain, Buffalo Wings to Die For, 2 locations, Burnside and Interstate. And I want to remind everybody that one of our big sponsors, one person we're supporting, is Big Brothers Big Sisters. Start something today. Become a big brother, big sister.
Well, that was a 15-point jam there for Napoleon blown apart for those last 2 minutes. Up next, jamming for the Breakneck Betties, we've got sulfuric acid.
And right this second, we've got Rick Deckard, but we also have an official timeout.
You know, an official timeout's a great time to remind everybody that the Oregon Lottery's downstairs, and they want to talk to you about a contest they're running where you could win $2,500.
Me?
Even you, Dragon.
Yay!
And tonight's after party is at the Space Room at 49th and Hawthorne. That's the Space Room. Your ticket, your bracelet gets you in for free.
Wench Warden over at the Breakneck Betties bench during that official timeout, but it looks like everything been straightened out.
Well, that whistle's to get everyone back in place to get this action restarted and recharged.
We have just under 13 minutes left to play. Rick Deckard and sulfuric acid, your jammers in this jam. High Rollers leading 115 to 58.
Sulfuric acid getting a push from her teammate, Push Latouche. How appropriate. And Acid is lead jammer for the Breakneck Betties.
Rick Deckard being sent to the Rebel Jeweler penalty box, picking up a back block major.
Well, that's going to put the Betties at a serious advantage here, holding a power jam situation.
Outside pack rep, Captain Obvious being tripped up by the foam barrier there. He's quick to recover, and in the meantime, sulfuric acid puts 4 points on the board for the Breakneck Betties.
Well, and that wasn't a full 5 points because she picked up a minor cutting the track while she passed through the pack. So she only got 4.
All 4 High Rollers blockers out in the front of the pack trying to kill off that penalty for Rick Deckard, but sulfuric acid putting 5 more points on the board for the Betties.
Well, and that was a full 5-point pass there. Betty's doing a great job of trapping back some of the ladies in green there, pulling Sedusa and Cassidy out of play, picking up another full 5 points and calling off the jam.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love vegetarian and vegan fare the way the Magic Pony does, you need to go to the Vita Cafe. Vita Cafe, food for thought.
Well, that was a 15-point jam on behalf of the Betties that time around. Jamming for the first time tonight, we got Shove Me Tender for the Breakneck Betties.
Honey Hellfire once again wearing the cap for the High Rollers. Honey Hellfire trying to go to the outside.
Oh, geez, and we got the Breakneck Betties lead jammer, Shove Me Tender.
Honey Hellfire trying to find room on that inside. Push Latouche doing a good job holding her back with Frisky Sour.
Francesca going in for a swooping hit there, doesn't quite connect, and Honey, is out for her initial pass out of the pack. Meanwhile, Shove Me Tender picks up a cool 4 points and calls off the jam.
I want to talk about the Rose City Rollers' favorite Clinton Street bar. That would be the Nightlife Lounge, the only place in town to buy real live Rose City Roller tickets.
Well, Dragon, we got to see it in the last jam, and it has been one of my favorite blocker pairings all night. Heidi Go-Seek for the High Rollers and Fran Chekia for the Breakneck Betties. Those two have been going at each other all night long, and that last jam was no different.
Well, speaking of blocking, we got Mistral Psycho doing a little defensive jamming on Deconstructor there. High Rollers short a blocker, and third time in a row, Betty's picking up lead jammer. They are on fire.
Minstrel Psycho trying to find her way around lead speaking missile at the front of the pack. Minstrel Psycho on her way through on her initial pass.
Well, a huge wipeout there taking the Betties. The pack is trying to regroup here as Deconstructor in the pack for her first scoring pass.
Scrappy Go Lucky trying to help out Deconstructor, get around that wall of green at the front of the pack. Decon Deconstructor quickly calling off the jam after picking up 2 points for the Betties.
And we've got a team timeout being called by the High Rollers. Pony, what do you got for us?
I got nutcase helmets. The helmet's so nice you want to wear it twice. I wear mine all the time. Nutcase helmets.
It's just safer that way. Well, High Rollers calling a team timeout here. Smart move with the sheer momentum that the Breakneck Betties have right now. Taking that 1 minute, taking the chance that it's going to cool their heels a little bit.
They can talk about things that are working. They can talk about things that haven't been working. It's all been working for me tonight.
And maybe they're talking about what they're going to buy you at the after party for your birthday party.
I hope so. I'm accepting cash or cocktails.
Well, and we've got skaters lined up to finish out this 1 minute. And next up, jamming, we've got sulfuric acid and illegally blonde. Only one blocker is sitting in the box, and that is still Devastating Diva for the High Rollers.
Well, Dragon, it sounded like Breakneck Alley's been brought to life in turn 2 there, cheering on the Breakneck Betties. Only 37 points separating these two teams at the start of the jam.
Well, and with these 15-point jams that we're seeing, 8.5 minutes, I'd like to say it still could be anybody's game here. And that I do not use lightly, as sulfuric acid picks up lead jammer for the Breakneck Betties.
Illegally blonde, almost out of the pack, got recycled to the back.
Well, she has to meet a front wall of Francesca, which is no small task to handle.
Illegally blonde now clear of the pack, but it's sulfuric acid working her way through on her scoring pass, putting 4 more points on the board for the Betties.
Woo! Woo! Porcano, amazing taqueria fair. 2 locations, the Mississippi and the Hawthorne. That's Porcano. Porcano, Porca yes, proud sponsors of My Tummy.
Thank you.
It's the little things that get us through. Shove Me Tender jamming once again for the Breakneck Betties.
Honey Hellfire on the line once again for the High Rollers.
Honey getting caught up in that front 3-wall of red there in the front of the pack.
And that 3-wall lead speaking missile giving no quarter and frisky sour. Honey Hellfire trying to find an answer. Heidi goes seek up to help her out. And it's Honey Hellfire breaking through, picking up lead jammer status.
Hot on her heels, Shove Me Tender like a jammer shadow behind her.
Shove Me Tender catching Honey Hellfire off guard. Honey Hellfire returning the favor in turn 2. Something we don't get treated too terribly often there, Dragon. We got a great jammer battle going on out there as these jammers are getting ready to...
It's a little bit like a couple skate.
I don't know what kind of skating rinks you went to when you were a kid.
Hey now.
The two continue to battle Honey Hellfire and Shove Me Tender.
Well, and I gotta say that this is eating up quite a little bit of time. Honey passing lead, picking up that 1 point and calling it off.
6 minutes left, and I want to tell you about Sock Dreams, unique, sexy, comfy socks for the Derby girl and everyone. That's Sock Dreams.
On the end of that jam, it looks like Layla Smackdown got sent off for her 4th minor. You can just make it up in your mind what that minor was. Deconstructor jamming once again for the Breakneck Betties. Going up against Wreck Deckard for the High Rollers. Woo.
High Rollers being very tenacious with their defense right now.
But that does not slow Deconstructor down for long. She is lead jammer. Even if she drops back a little bit, you do not lose that status. She is out of the pack.
Devastating Diva joining Layla Smack down in the penalty box for the High Rollers. Wreck Decker clear of the pack.
Well, Hurricane Katrina getting called off, waved back on by the penalty box NSOs because you can only have 2 blockers in there.
Sea Herald Construction, serving all your home and restaurant remodeling needs since 1992. That's Sea Herald Construction, proud sponsors of your Rose City Rollers.
So since there wasn't room in the penalty box for Hurricane Katrina, she actually has to skate in this gym, and when a seat opens up, she will be waved off to serve her 1 minute. You do not get away with anything.
And it looks like we've got an official timeout.
Well, I officially am going to review my options for what I'm doing after this exciting roller derby bout.
I can tell you one thing you could do.
Besides buy you a birthday cake?
Birthday cocktails only tonight. I'm cutting down on the calories, but we could start that at the Space Room.
Napoleon blown apart, taking the jammer cap for the High Rollers. Sulfuric Acid wearing the jammer cap once again for the Breakneck Betties.
And we got Sulfuric Acid breezing by on the outside of the pack, picking up lead jammer for the Breakneck Betties.
Much to the chagrin of the High Rollers, the Breakneck Betties will not go quietly into the night. Sulfuric Acid, your lead jammer. 30 points separating these two teams as we've got less than 4 minutes left to play.
She makes it into the pack and quickly calls off the jam, picking up 4 points for the ladies in red.
Get your brutal best beauty rest sleep at the Courtyard Marriott Lloyd Center, proud sponsors of all of your Rose City Rollers.
I also want to give a huge shout out to all of our skating and non-skating officials. I can barely concentrate on this intense game, and yet they managed to keep some sort of order for everyone, all those moving pieces.
Honey Hellfire with the jammer cap for the High Rollers. Shove Me Tender wearing it for the Breakneck Betties. And it's Shove Me Tender making her way through the pack, first picking up lead jammer status.
Honey Hellfire making her way slowly through up the center of the pack there to be met by that tough wall of red.
Well, and part of that wall of red being sent to the penalty box for a high block minor, her 4th.
And Shove Me Tender back around the pack for a full scoring pass, picking up 5 points for the Breakneck Betties.
Honey Hellfire through the pack on her first scoring pass, or on her initial pass.
Both teams down 1 blocker. As we have Shove re-entering the pack for her second scoring pass. Calls off the jam after picking up 2 points, bringing the Betties up to 97.
Fat Lip Industries, carve hard, ride fast, be free. Go to skatefatlip.com, Fat Lip Industries.
Holy cow, Dragon, this is amazing.
I don't even know what's going on anymore. Who's jamming? Who's playing? What am I missing?
Napoleon blown apart on the jammer line for the High Rollers. Sulfuric Acid with the cap for the Breakneck Betties. 19 points separating the two teams with less than 2 minutes to play.
Both jammers fiercely fighting their way through the pack, but it is Napoleon blown apart that picks up lead jammer for the High Rollers.
High Rollers ratcheting down their defense once again, but Sulfuric Acid makes it through on her initial pass.
Woo! This pack is skating so fast.
Breakneck Betties with a 4-3 blocker advantage right now.
With those amazingly talented jammers The pack is strictly trying to outrace them, which is not any small feat to accomplish.
Napoleon blown apart, picking off 4 points for the high rollers and calling off the jam.
And we've got the Widowmaker quickly calling a team timeout there for the Breakneck Betties.
We'd like to thank Mike Thrasher Presents, Portland's leading events promoter. If you want to see it, Mike Thrasher's probably putting it on. Mike Thrasher Presents.
Well, Mike checks, we've got 23 points, 120 high rollers, 97 Betties. 32 seconds left on the period clock. That is going to allow us for probably just one more jam here.
32 seconds, not a lot of time on the period clock. In this timeout, we've got the Breakneck Betties gathered together in their bench area. The high rollers out on the track, gathered up, getting their defense set. All of the referees having a conversation in the center of the track. Everybody making sure that they are ready for what you said, and is probably right, will be the final jam of this bout.
Well, and what's really going to determine is who gets lead jammer. Will the high rollers call it off and end the bout, or will the Breakneck Betties put it full throttle and see how many points they can put on the board for the 2 minutes that remain?
Well, as far as the numbers of blockers and jammers go, both teams at full strength. The Rebel Jeweler penalty box completely empty going into this final jam.
We have 2 strong jammers on the Pabst Blue Ribbon jam line. Sulfuric acid for the Betties and Minstrel Cycle for the high rollers.
Fans, this is it. This is going to be your last jam of the night. Let's hear it. Breakneck Betties seeing if they can gap that 23-point difference. High rollers trying to hang on and pull this one out.
And we're getting the out of play signal. They're having to release sulfuric acid, and she is your lead jammer.
Give her no quarter in the penalty box for the Betties, giving the high rollers a 4-3 blocker advantage. Minstrel Psycho still working her way through the pack on her initial pass.
Now she's switching to a little defense maneuvering on herself, essentially giving Acid 5 blockers to work her way through to pick up any amount of points here.
Minstrel Psycho doing some great blocking of sulfuric acid on the outside of the front straightaway.
And she has stayed up, some quick feet there, picking up 5 points for the Breakneck Betties. 4.
Fourth minor being called on Devastating Diva. She's being sent off the track. Minstrel Psycho out of the pack on her initial pass.
Acid dances around Kid Cassidy for set another 4 points for the Betties.
8 points so far for sulfuric acid this jam.
And that is your 2 minutes, your 4 whistles. We're gonna wait for final confirmation from our head ref.
Well, Dragon, this is exactly the kind of bout that we expected coming into tonight. The number 1 and number 2 teams in the home league, and they put on an amazing display tonight.
We've got the thumbs up. Final score, high rollers 120, Breakneck Betties 106. Big congratulations to your high rollers!
Happy birthday, sir.
Well, and I think it goes without saying, Mike.
A huge, huge round of applause for the Breakneck Betties as well. An amazing bout by both of these teams.